See how I like to micromanage you?
Yeah, I like being micromanaged. If it wasn't for the micromanaging, I wouldn't be able to do anything, you know? But yeah,
You'll be directionless.
I would. I'd be completely directionless. I'd be traveling around in an RV, you know? Anyway, so, which could be pretty fun. And sometimes I regret not having that lifestyle.
Hey!
Hey everyone, I'm Studio Steve, and with me is Veronica.
Hello, people.
Today we're going to be talking all about why we need coaches. Before we dive into it, though, we wanted to tell you about our Overachievers Club over at Patron. You know, we work really hard. We're working like 14-hour days lately just to pump so much information and so much free content out there to help people get their podcasts off the ground or help to improve the podcast that they already have. Tons of tips and tricks. And we love what we do, and we want to keep doing what we're doing, so we could really use your help over there.
Yes, we want to keep the doors of the Pod Sound School open. We want to keep creating, and we want to keep helping people out with their podcasts. So your pledge will help us a ton. So go over at Patreon and sign up, and we will give you some love in return.
Perfect.
We're full of love.
Okay, so like we said, why do we need coaches and mentors?
Yes, and this is a very interesting topic I decided to do some research on because, as you guys know, the Pod Sound School, we are podcast coaches. We teach folks how to plan, produce, launch, and promote a successful podcast. So I just wanted to dive more into this concept of coaching and mentorship just to inform people of what it is, because it wasn't clear to me either the difference between a coach and a mentor. So this was good for me to find out these things. So one of the things that you're going to take away from this episode is what is the difference between a coach and a mentor, and whether you need one or not. And you don't want to miss the end of this episode because Studio Steve, he's going to tell you interesting stories about his days of a music production studio in Hollywood and how his mentors impacted his life, and maybe some funny stories because I'm sure you'll have some.
Hopefully I have some. I don't have anything prepared, but we'll
us.
see. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
So let's talk about the difference between coaching and mentoring. Because it wasn't clear for me, okay, when do I need a coach? When do I need a mentor? What's the difference between a coach and a mentor? Are they all the coaches paid? All the mentorships, are they free? Or how does this work? So my research, I found this really cool article in Forbes. It talked about the difference between coaching and mentoring. So if we talk about coaching is task-oriented and is focused on skill development, while mentoring is a relationship-oriented and it seeks to promote a safe space to ask questions and ask for advice. Coaching is more a short-term thing. Is based on goals. So once you achieve those goals, then you don't need your coach anymore. Then another difference is that coaching is performance driven. The purpose is to improve the performance of a certain task. Once the person successfully acquires the skill, the coach is no longer needed. And mentoring is more development driven. That's why mentoring is a long-term relationship.
Yeah, that kind of clears up what it is for me and makes a little bit of sense.
So for me, to make it clear for me, I thought if my path isn't clear, if I'm looking into like stepping into an area I don't know, I need a mentor. I need somebody who I can ask questions about the industry I'm trying to get in. Somebody who can point me at certain resources. Somebody who I admire and I want to be like that person in a few years. But then if I want to do specific things, okay, I want my business to have a podcast. So in that way, that is so specific and so goal oriented that you need a coach instead of a mentor. Okay, now you know the difference.
Yes.
Between mentorship and coaching. And now, why should I hire a coach, or why should I find a mentor for me? And here are the reasons. So the first one is experience and wisdom. They have done it. Wherever you're trying to find a coach, and if it's a fitness coach, a business coach, if it's a mindset coach, if it's a life coach, a podcast coach, they have walked the path and they are full of wisdom and insights and knowledge and experience, and you wanna take advantage of this.
Yeah. And then the next thing to consider is accountability.
Yeah,
So,
that's a big one.
yeah, they're going to hold you accountable and push you to succeed.
Yeah, they're going to have a whole program set up for you. And you have to hit those goals. You have to hit those marks. You have to, there's no excuses.
Yeah, and the accountability also comes from the fact that you're paying these people.
Yeah.
So
funny story. So when I had my fitness coach, I would meet him at 5:30 in the morning. And there were some days that I just did not want to wake up at 5 in the morning to be at the gym at 5:30 and train. But because I hired a coach, because I had him waiting for me, that was the motivation I needed, the accountability I needed to go there, to train, and to take my body to the next level, and to train like an athlete. So that was pretty intense.
Yeah,
I love that. I love the accountability part.
Yeah, the accountability is huge.
Yeah,
that's worth it just in that. Like, that's with anything. You want to learn how to play the guitar, pay somebody to teach you, and you'll learn better. You just will. But that goes to the next point, which is unbiased and objective opinion.
Yes.
So when you're talking about a guitar teacher, he can see your fingers. He can see things that you can't see.
That you can see.
My favorite expression is, rarely does the eye see itself.
Yes.
It's really hard to see what you're doing wrong. It's really hard to get that unbiased or subjective, right?
And sometimes it hurts.
Yeah, it hurts.
And like, there was this time that we were trying to hire a Pinterest expert, and we went and met this person.
Oh boy.
And he destroyed us. But the things that she was saying were true.
They were very true, and it was good. And you take that criticism and you adjust it, or at least you take it with a grain of salt.
Yes.
But yeah, so with the unbiased and objective opinion, unlike family and friends, they will tell you whether or not your idea is worth the hustle.
Yes.
And
so they're going to take the objective approach. They're not, your family and your friends, they're invested in you, and they want to see you succeed. So sometimes they will not, and they don't have the expertise. That's the thing that we're talking about, is the expertise. This person can see the future, not only the present.
So what's the next reason?
The next one is a huge one, and it's networking. When you hire a coach, when you reach out and find a mentor, then you get access to that enterprise or that person's network. And building connections and building a network, it takes a lot of time and a lot of you to invest in relationships and work in different projects with people. So by you hiring a coach, you get access to that person's network. And I'm talking to the entrepreneurs. You surround yourself with people that are successful. Surround yourself with people that you see that have achieved what you want to achieve.
Yeah, people that intimidate you even.
Yeah, even the people that will intimidate you, people that will take you out of your comfort zone. And you have to put yourself in those environments. So if it's paying for a ticket to go to an event of your favorite business coach, then there you'll be surrounded by other people who are on the same boat as you, entrepreneurs, business owners, and then you can make connections. So it's all about networking, and coaching is just one way of opening doors for a network you wouldn't have access to.
Yeah, and then the next one is you'll be set up for success.
Set up for success, yes.
That's, they know what works and they know what doesn't work based off of their mistakes.
Yes.
And then again, because of the accountability, they make you stick to your goals. And it just kind of sets you on a path. Even if you just take all of your coaching and your mentorship with a grain of salt, it sets you up on that path for success.
And that's what we do here at the Pod Sound School. We know how to set you up for success. We know the things that you have to do before you jump in the waters of podcasting. I don't know how to, sometimes my sayings are not. My sayings are
I thought that was a really good saying.
But, okay.
Yeah. Jump into the waters of podcasting.
Jump into the waters of podcasting. We know how to, what are the things that you should do during the planning stages. So when you launch your podcast, it's not, only crickets listening to your, because we've been there. We know how it is. We know it's painful, and we have tried it all, and we know what works.
Yeah. Oh man, if we could just go back to on this first podcast to having taken the time, or having the insight to have a coach or to think about coaching. Sometimes as creators, and especially as podcasters, craftspeople, content creators, we just get so excited about the content itself,
creation
and the creation itself, that we just are anxious to release it and get it put out there. Whereas if you had a mentor or a coach advising you and say, okay, take some time, have more episodes built up. Here's a strategy, a marketing strategy. We're going to find your niche before you get too many of those episodes recorded, before you put out 50 episodes, just to realize that you're reaching out to the wrong niche, the wrong target audience. The wrong
people, yes.
And there's so many easy to make mistakes that in hindsight, you're just like, I can't believe I did that.
Yes. But and you may be wondering, I don't need to worry about that, because I only get together and have fun with my friends. I don't... My goal isn't to make money out of my podcast.
Yeah, and that's
we have to change that mentality.
Yeah, I think it is important to change that
mentality. Because you can
mentality.
make money out of your art as possible.
Yeah.
You just had to know how. And we can teach you how.
And there's all sorts of cool ways of looking at that. And on the surface, when you're thinking about making money solely on podcasting, yeah, chances are you're not going to make a lot of money on podcasting. But it's what podcasting can do for your overall enterprise. It's how podcasting is one piece of the puzzle that you can wind up being very creative.
It's how you can use podcasting as a way to promote your business, your art, your enterprise. It's a way to promote, and it's a very effective way.
It's a way to promote.
If you have a business model behind it, is a great way to promote.
Yes, and that's where a coach just can help you with the mindset.
Can help you see that.
Yeah. Then finally, or I guess there's a couple more.
Yes.
There's a few more. What's the next one?
So the next one is faster results, and we have mentioned that a little bit, is how something that can take you 6 months to a year, by hiring a coach, you can reduce that time to 3 months, 2 months, 4 months, depending on how much work you put into the project. So if you find yourself a good coach, if you enroll in the program and you are a good student and you follow the steps, then your results will come faster.
Yeah, they come faster. And then that takes you to another idea. It's like, well, should I hire a coach or should I hire like a technician? Like somebody who's going to edit, or somebody who's going to help me with the production aspect of it. And that's where I would argue the coach should come in first into play, because the coach or the mentor might help you to strategize who you hire.
Yes.
And that's some classic mistakes that we made as well in hiring the wrong people. And,
Yeah, you can have those judgment calls about what you need. Do I need to hire somebody to do this, or can I learn it myself? And a coach can help you do that.
Yeah, and then that winds up saving you money and saving you time.
Yeah, it can save you money and time. I know that coaching may seem sometimes like, but it's just so much money.
Yeah.
If you would only sit down and think about all the time and money you would waste, if you don't hire a coach, that would be an incentive for you to find a coach.
Yeah,
and if we can get it down to podcasting, I can see myself buying the wrong equipment,
buying the wrong microphone,
wrong website host.
Yeah. Oh, that's a huge one. Getting the wrong website host. You can very easily spend the time learning a DAW, digital audio workstation, that doesn't work for you.
Producing content every week that nobody will listen to, because I haven't narrowed it down to my niche.
Which ultimately, if you don't wind up getting those connections and finding a way to have fun and finding a way to reach out and get that validation you're seeking as a podcaster, then your podcast, the longevity of your show isn't going to be very long.
Yeah, because you get
discouraged.
You get discouraged. It's like, who am I making this for?
Who am I making this for? Exactly.
Am I making this for myself? Nobody's listening. I'm not connecting. People are not showing up for me.
And I think that's a really classic journey of a content creator, of a podcaster, of an artist. The classic journey is you sort of start creating for yourself, and then you wind up creating for other people more than yourself, or finding the balance between it. Because you do still have to have that balance of, I don't care what my niche audience wants. I'm just going to go for it, but so finally,
the last benefit of hiring a coach is optimization. So because coaches have optimized their approach in a way that they can teach it to others so they can get to places faster. So optimization is a big one. We are working constantly as far as optimization, how we can make this more effective, how we can make it faster, how we can teach it in a way that people will get it and grasp it and apply it, and so they don't spend a lot of time in it.
Yeah, that's great. So one last point for this episode, how to find the right mentor or coach.
Yes. So how do you find the right person for you? So before we dive into this, something important is not only how can I find the right coach or mentor, it's about how good of a student I am. Because you can hire Tony Robbins, but if you're not committed, if you're not willing to walk the walk and to do what is required, then the mentorship or the coaching is not going to work.
Yeah.
So it's a balance between finding the right mentor for you and also do the work. And that's how you get results. Because you hear a lot of people, I didn't get the results I wanted. What you need to ask those people, did you follow the program?
Yeah.
Did you take every step that they tell you to do? And sometimes you'll find that they dropped the program halfway through, that they didn't, I did it my way. No, the program is there for a reason. And if you trust your coach and you follow all the steps, you will get results. There's just no way you wouldn't.
Yeah. And then self-analysis, which is, what are my passions? What are my skills? And really taking that personal inventory, because that's going to help to guide you into deciding whether you need a mentor or coach at all. And then the other one is to set goals. What are my goals? What do I want to achieve?
Yeah, that's very important to have clear in your mind. What are the things that you want to achieve? You don't want to jump into hiring a coach or a mentor without having a clear picture of what is the next move and whether a coach can help you or a mentor can help you with that or not before you pay somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to pay for somebody we don't need.
Yeah, or pay somebody for the wrong thing.
Or pay somebody for the wrong thing, because it's going to be frustrating for you. And also it's going to be frustrating and discouraging for your mentor or your coach.
So then the other point was look at quality and results.
Quality and results. Yeah, this is a huge one. When you are hiring a coach, when you're finding a mentor, you want to see if that person has the product, the qualities that you want to achieve in a few months or a few years. You want to look at their social media presence. You want to look at what other projects they have going on. You want to see what kind of quality they put into the work that they do, and if they can help you.
Yeah.
If that is so important, that you do your due diligence and take your time to find a person who's going to give you results.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of scammers out
There's a lot of scammers and people who
willing
just want
to take your money and they don't
and
have
they just
anything
wanna,
to
I think a lot of times
for.
The worthy coaches that are really going to help you advance quickly aren't really ones that are going to be coming after you.
No.
That's a good tip to know. They're going to be ones you're going to have to seek out.
Yes.
They might be hard to get a hold of. You're going to have a hard time actually getting them to coach you, you know? So that's a little tip.
Yeah,
for
it's not the ones who are harassing
scammers.
you.
Yeah. So after that, if we move on, you kind of went into the next point with look at quality and results is to study that person.
Yeah, study that person.
But to elaborate on that, it's also to find out about their life story, and you want to know if they have the same values as you. You want to kind of know if you agree with them. And the other thing, again, is to be teachable. You can't get your coach to go above and beyond for you.
Yes, above and beyond for you. If you show enthusiasm.
If you show enthusiasm, you're showing results, you're doing everything, you're already a step ahead. They're like, okay, you need to do this. You're like, oh, I did that already. Then they're going to be like, oh, they're challenging me.
And they also will welcome you with arms wide open to their network.
Yeah, into their network.
They will refer you to other people.
They'll refer you to people. They'll help you find those gigs.
Yes.
They'll help you get more promotion happening because they'll be proud of you. And, coaches and mentors, they want to be proud of the people they coach and mentor.
Yes.
They want a testimonial out of somebody who kicks ass at their system.
Yeah.
And then lastly, and I like this a lot, is what if you can't afford the mentor of your dreams?
Yeah, and I learned this trick from our business coach, Vanessa Lau.
Yes, it's a good hit.
So let's say my dream is to coach with Tony Robbins, and I can't afford Tony Robbins at this moment. But I know that Kathy Heller, she's been coaching with Tony Robbins, so maybe I can afford Kathy Heller. And she's going to teach me what she learned with Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
So it's just a great way to approach coaching and mentorship.
Yeah, if you research or who your mentor mentors, then you can get a hold of their mentees. And it's just kind of this nice life cycle that can happen in that way.
Okay, I am done.
Yeah, you're done.
I am ready for your stories.
Oh no! Okay. So I didn't have any stories prepared. I really do have a lot of funny stories when I was working in Hollywood at recording studios, which I think is what Veronica wanted me to talk about.
Yes.
I have a lot of really funny stories, but they have nothing to do with mentorship. All sorts of crazy things that happened. Some of them involving homeless people. And some
breaking in.
Yeah, and some pretty shady situations.
But what are some of the things that you learned from your mentors?
Okay, well, I had some great mentors, and if it wasn't for those mentors and also coaches, then I just wouldn't even be who I am today. Like some of them actually shaped who I am as a person because of these audio concepts that they opened me up to. One was John Shorney, who is blind. Well, legally blind. He had to wear these like microscopic glasses, like when he'd go to movie theater.
How does that work?
I don't know. It was weird. It was like this little microscope over one. So he could go to a movie theater, but he had to wear these things. Yeah. So for that reason, his face was always really close up on the console, and but they say that, your other senses are enhanced. So he had an impeccable hearing. And that made him an incredible engineer. And he was an assistant engineer, but he was a super wonderfully nice, generous man. One of the nicest men I've ever met because he mentored me without me paying him or anything else. He just wanted. And so he'd be working a 12-hour, 14-hour session. And at the end of the session, he'd be cleaning up and I'd go in there to help him clean up. And he'd say, all right, what don't you know? And spend an hour with me, even though he was dying to go home. He's exhausted. He'd spend an hour with me, and I'm just like, John, what is the difference between limiting and compression? And he would break it down for me, and he'd tell me those things. And that.
But wouldn't you do that right now for somebody?
Yeah, I totally would.
Because it's your passion.
Yeah, it's your passion, and it's so fun to teach your passion too. You know what I mean? And then. Finally, it was just sort of this subtle thing from Mike Wolf was another big mentor of mine. And Mike Wolf, really amazing character. But he had a class. So I actually paid for his class, and he taught the class at the recording studio. And there's two studios adjacent to each other, Studio A and Studio B. Studio B is where he taught it from, which was this old, classic 70s wood recording studio in Hollywood that was very, the Temptations recorded there, all these old-timey jazz musicians. It just had the spirit of Hollywood in it, like the real spirit of Hollywood, in it, before the crash of the music industry. Anyway, so Mike Wolf, he just taught me so much in his course. That's if you check out our acoustics episode, and there's the analogy of a pool table that comes from Mike Wolf. So all of these ways that I look at audio production, how audio production work, totally come from these old timers' visions and concepts that they come up with that I put into my own practice now.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that pretty much is a good place to stop what I was talking about. There's a little couple stories for you there. The funny ones, you'll have to come over to Patreon and ask me if you want to hear some funny ones, like when I let a homeless man into my car and got robbed, and where that led me.
What?
And as he was leaving my car, when I finally got rid of him, he said, "Stay off the streets."
So you found a homeless man
I
sleeping
let
in
a
your car?
homeless man inside my car, yeah.
Oh, okay. How was the smell after?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Better than yours?
Yeah. He smelled a lot better. He was actually cleaner than me. I thought he was going to do me a favor. But anyway, so that's about it for this episode, and we appreciate you coming by. And
yes, and if you need a podcast coach, come and check us out.
Yeah,
we
if
can
you need
help
a podcast coach, we can help you.
If after this episode you make up your mind and you are ready to give that step, then come and contact us. We can help you.
We can help you. Killer launch strategy. We can really give you a bang with your podcast to make that difference. Even if the podcast doesn't wind up monetizing for you, it will grow your brand and your digital footprint.
Yeah.
So, but thanks everyone, and
happy casting, amigos.
Happy casting.